Hello and welcome to another episode of Mindful Conversation series in my podcast, the Anuj Kapoor Talk Show. I hope you are enjoying listening to the episodes that I have released, and I'm really thrilled to see such a good response that I've received so far. And I am super excited to bring to you the third episode of Mindful Conversation series. And in this episode today, I have with me Savitha Subramanian from Chennai, who is working in an IT company and is passionate about writing. She has written a lot of short stories and poems and loves to paint and sing. Though an introvert, she loves rational conversations with the people who she can vibe with. An Aquarian by birth, she loves taking risks and being self reliant, and she believes in treating all living beings equally, and empathy is her strong personality trait. And in this episode today, we will be talking about her book, World Without Women. So, let us begin with the episode. Hello, Savita. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode of Mindful Conversation series. I'm thrilled to have you here in this show and would like to welcome you to this episode.
Hi, Anuj. Thank you so much for having me in your show, and I'm equally thrilled as well.
Tell me, Savita, what was your thought behind writing this book called World Without Women? Or if I have to say that, how did you come up with this idea of writing this kind of book?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, to say, I did not have any plans or
Hmm.
didn't think for a long time about this storyline or the theme. It is just a flash of thought, that
Right.
made me to sit down and write the whole book. Actually,
Okay. Okay.
so like though rape cases and rape news, that's become so common. But when I came across an intensive rape case, about a little girl, like she was raped for a week, and then
Hmm.
later she was brutally killed. Actually, so
Okay.
I just couldn't get that news off my mind at all. And as I was mindlessly browsing the TV channels, I just happened to watch a scene in a movie where
Hmm.
the lead woman character is in trouble and she
Hmm.
keeps crying in the shrine, and suddenly Durga Ma comes jumping from
Hmm.
the idol, and she kills the villain
Hmm.
off. Though I'm an agnostic by belief,
Hmm.
watching this scene, the thought of what if this could happen in reality stuck
Right.
my mind like really hard, actually.
Right.
So that is how everything began.
Okay. So yeah, indeed, this really seemed interesting, and yeah, I can very well sense your feelings actually, because I also have seen all those news, and specifically I'm talking from Delhi perspective. I mean, I'm a
Mm.
Delhi. I have been a Delhiite for very long, and it. I don't want to say this, but it's heartening to say that, to hear all these news basically. So and
Nowadays, it's just become a passing news, just a
right,
small square. It's become
right.
so common.
Right, and I can very well sense that. In fact, I was on the other day. I was reading a news of some older person raping a 5-year-old girl. I was shocked. What's happening to the society?
Yeah, so every time, like people simply blame women for the way they are dressing up
Right,
and the way they are behaving. And what does a 5-year
right,
girl does she? I mean, she doesn't even know her
right,
body,
right,
doesn't even know
right.
what is happening to her, right?
True, 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 true. Very well sense that. I mean, so what chapter in this book, Savita, do you have the hardest time writing, and which one was the most fun to write? I mean, just to give the audience some bit of fun element also. So, wanted to know your
Okay.
views. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Sure. Okay. So, well, I wouldn't say I had hard time writing any particular chapters as such,
Mm-hmm.
but rather I did have this difficulty of logically bringing about the detailing of the events
Mm-hmm.
based on the year. So as you read the chapters, we go back and forth in time.
Mm-hmm.
So these were the places where I really had hard time writing.
Right, right.
And
Okay.
to talk about the fun part, actually, to really say this whole book is fully filled with tragedies of rape, its after
Right,
effect.
right.
I just wanted to bring some lightness towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say most fun part was writing my last few chapters of the book, where
Mm-hmm.
my characters Surya and Ada, they
Mm-hmm.
meet each other and how events unfolds after that.
Right.
So yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, the whole book, I also read the book, and I mean I would really say that in entire book they were very serious elements, and something to think about also, though there were some fun elements that the readers can vouch for basically while they read the book, obviously, to make it a little more interesting. And they were very well written, actually, I must say. So yes, I agree with you that it will be very difficult to differentiate or choose between the chapters, as it indeed it was a very page turner. And that brings me to
Mhm.
another question, Savita. Do you feel that this book will really make people to think when the readers will read your book about how the world will actually look if there were no women around them? Will it really make a difference? Yeah.
Okay, so actually, my intention was not to, literally make people think how the world will look like without women. Rather,
Mhm.
I would say, like, I wanted to show how intense the loss would be. Like,
Right.
men or women, like, we play an important part in each other's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still, like, it literally hurts me when, for generations, like, we had to go through a lot just to even live at peace. So that's
Yeah.
been our scenario, like, for a long time. No, even to this date, as I already mentioned, like, we are the ones who are getting blamed for being raped. We signaled
Mm-hmm.
men,
Right.
like, we are wearing inviting clothes.
Mm-hmm.
We had drinks, so it'll be like we will be ready for everything. So these are the
Right.
very common notion, and it even comes from people in prominence.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Right.
so many people who speak about that openly and just
Right.
come and blame women for everything that is happening to her. And
Right.
because this is because, like, we are still objectified, we are sexually objectified, we are not
Right.
seen as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Generation after generation, this is what is happening, and this
True.
definitely needs to change.
True. True.
And
You are
just
right.
like
Yep.
you, yeah. So, like, just you had mentioned that your mind went numb, uh, in many places, right? Like, so this happened for me as well.
Right.
Writing this few chapters, just left me a bitter feeling in my heart, and
True.
I had to give some break before I proceeded writing further. And
True.
I know the most of the time, like, I really feel bad for making the scene so excruciating, but still, the theme which I had taken, the storyline which I have in
Mm-hmm.
hand, is like really intense and heavy, but so I didn't have a choice, actually.
Right. You are spot on basically. So you answered what I was going to ask you
Mhm.
next. But yes, you are spot on, because literally I really got goosebumps on number of occasions while reading the book, specifically on the incident where the main character was raped. But the way you portrayed, where you showed how she gave a fighting spirit, I think that should be one of the lessons learned for most of the women. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, if this should happen, but I'm sure reading your book will should give a lot of courage to women. Yeah, yeah, to women. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. So that was my main intention, actually. I really, aspire, like, I just want women to,
right.
fight back every time something happens. It's not
Mhm.
like you just have to, undergo everything and then
True.
take the blame also. I don't know, like it's been so many generations, like this keeps happening. So my lead character is an example of how a woman really
True.
has to react and fight for herself.
And I would say more than that, more than giving our women or our girls the kind of education, it is more important to give the education to the male counterparts also, to the sons and to other
Yes.
males as well, how they should respect women. I mean, that is very important, basically. Yeah.
True, true. Yes. So that definitely needs to be imparted. And I would say, like, mothers play an important part here.
True.
Like,
True.
sex education is really important, and it is high time we bring that about in our homes, in our school systems, to make sure that, everyone knows where we are, what is their role,
Mhm.
how we should respect each other, everything, that's very important.
So, was there any moment you had where you felt that you should write this book, or you felt that you were literally out of ideas, you were blank, and if such situation came, then how did you overcame that? I mean, did you as you mentioned, you took a break, or was there anything else you did? I mean, in that scenario, yeah.
Actually, to really say, I was never out of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the storyline, the characters, the events, like everything just unfolded from within me.
Mm-hmm.
It just flowed. So I won't say like I was out of ideas at any point of time. So just like as the baseline of the story stuck my mind across, I sat down and wrote the first chapter in one go, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
even the names of the characters flowed from within me.
Okay.
I don't know, it just happened. So I
Okay.
won't say I was out of ideas, but still
Mm-hmm.
here and there I have thought, is this book really needed? I mean,
Right.
is this kind of intense writing really needed? So that thought has crossed my mind like now and then.
So, from writer's perspective, was there any kind of research that you did before writing this book? I mean, and I'm talking this especially from since I am also from the writing background, so I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of research that is needed. So, was there any kind of research? Did you do any kind of research while writing this book? I'm sure. I mean, you must have
Yeah,
you got a lot of ideas from newspapers and stuff. But
yeah.
apart from that, you did any research? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like I had to do some research where, like, especially where I had to write about rape and its after effects, like how my
Mhm.
lead character gets raped, like what happens to her, and the way she fights back. To explain those scenes, I really had to do some research. I had to talk to taekwondo tutors. So I did speak with them, and I had to speak with doctors as well to write about what happens after a rape, like how a body
Right.
response, or like how she will feel from mind, from within. All those things had to do a lot of research. And
Right.
I also gave a lot of thought, before I wrote, about how mindset of the people will change when something unexpected happens,
Mm-hmm.
and how they will be able to face them, and what
Mm-hmm.
their reaction would be. So I did read a lot of articles, past
Mm-hmm.
scenarios where such things happened. So yes,
Okay.
I did a fair share of research done, but still, like, most of the events in my book are just hypothesis, right? So they are
Okay.
not like
True.
definite. I will never be able to say that these are the obvious outcomes, but
Right.
probably this could happen like this. So
Mm-hmm.
most of my events are like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the
Mm-hmm.
fun part is,
True.
like,
True.
when
True.
I wrote the story, I never once imagined that a similar kind of pandemic will hit our world, and most of my
True.
hypotheses will become true, become a
Right.
reality.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
my brother, to till date, I mean, he keeps asking me, like, are you an author or a doomsayer?
Right. So, from the writer's perspective, and for all those people who want to become a writer or want to publish a book, from their perspective, how
Mm-hmm.
important you feel is the value of research, or about the research in writing a book or a novel, or a fictitious novel like this. I mean, so what do you feel? How important is the research is?
Yeah, so when we are, even if it is a fiction novel, when we are connecting some reality to it, like say for my book, it's a fiction novel, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to happen in reality, but still,
Right,
when we are explaining few things, there should be some reality in that.
right.
So it is obviously necessary for a person, like before they write down anything, before they sit to think. Bringing some scenes into a you know penning it down, like it is very important for the person to do a lot of research.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically, if this is going to be a just a on the go romantic story, like there is not going to be a much of research needed. But still, when you're taking some real case scenarios and bringing it
Mm-hmm.
into your fiction novels, or a real story which you want to write it down, so all these things definitely need some research.
So that brings me to another question.
Mhm.
While we are talking about writers' perspective, so have you heard of the term writer's block? And I mean, if yes,
Yes,
then
yes, of
did
course.
yeah. So did you face? I mean, such a thing while writing this book, or any time in your career, basically, while you're passionate
Mhm.
about writing. So did you face this kind of situation?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It is obvious. Like no author will, have that kind of free flowing thoughts, or like
Right.
everyone will face that writer's block,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
And definitely, I did face writer's block as well. Like I wouldn't say I ran out of ideas or something, but still, like when I wrote some tragic events, my thoughts like kept overflowing, but I did
Mm-hmm.
have difficulty writing it down
Putting
and
down.
putting
Mm-hmm.
forth the right way,
Mm-hmm.
to bring it into proper words. So that definitely in those places I did have a writer's block.
Okay.
So
So
and those times, like my
mhm.
only thing is like I would stop writing. I will
Okay.
definitely not sit down and break my head to uh, bring
True.
words out of me. So I will just stop writing, give myself a break, and I will sit down and write once again when I'm feeling like doing it.
Yeah, I think that is the best way to deal with the writer's block syndrome, is to just stop writing and
Yes.
take some break. Or I mean, even I do the same thing. And
Mhm.
whenever see that I don't feel like writing, I just take a break, take a coffee, and go for a
True.
walk, basically. So
Mm.
that is it. That is all I do. I
The-
mean, yes, I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
So, just to divert from the question that I'm asking to some other question,
Mhm.
is that so your pen name is Rudra. So Rudra is
Yes.
born from Savitha.
Yes.
Apart from Rudra, who is Savitha? I mean, and what are the different roles that you play? Tell us a little bit about your background, and also we want to know how this pen name Rudra came about, and how did that name came to you, and why did you thought of writing the book with this particular name? I mean, specifically, yeah.
Okay. Sure, definitely. So, to tell some background about myself, I'm just a simple person working in an IT company and mother of two lovely kids.
Okay.
So, I've put my hands into various things like writing, doing voiceovers, interior designing, and
Wow.
I'm also a
Hmm.
counselor and I love problem solving.
Okay.
And I'm a person of big dreams, but I'm an introvert. I don't speak much actually, so
Hmm.
I'm literally an introvert who wouldn't open up so easily.
Hmm.
Um, so like even though like writing has always been my way of expressing my thoughts and feelings, never once did I think that I will sit down and pen a whole book down. So that has not been my what to say, and my
40.
aim or something,
Yeah.
or I didn't have an idea to do that itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what is about me. And to answer your question about my pen name Rudra, actually Rudra means ferocious and thunderous. So
Mm-hmm.
before even writing the book, I decided that I will not be writing in my own name, because Rudra is a person, I mean, the author is a person who sees the world from a different perspective. So I wanted myself to, differentiate from being me into another person, the
Mm-hmm.
author who has a common viewpoint
Mm-hmm.
among everything.
Right.
Like it's not like she has some what to say, kind of like we have our own thoughts, we have our own mindset, we have our own
Mm-hmm.
perspective. So the author should not be a person as such, right? Like she should be a common person, she should have a common viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I did want to differentiate myself from being Savitha, and somehow like Rudra's, that name strike me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was really nice. Since it is, the meaning itself is ferocious and thunderous, I thought like this name will really be apt for
Right.
the book
Okay.
I have written.
Okay. Okay.
And to talk about how Rudra is different from Savita, Rudra is actually a strong-willed person. She's
Mm-hmm.
very unyielding in expressing her anger towards
Mm-hmm.
the injusticeness, right?
Right.
So that is how she has written the book, actually.
Right.
So Savita, on the other hand, is a person like who is simple. She loves freedom and is empathetic. So I
Right.
would say both Rudra and Savita are two sides of the same coin, who's
Mm-hmm.
unable to literally bear the injustice which is happening all over, but
Right.
expresses in a different way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was nice. A little
Mhm.
intro about yourself. So it was pretty interesting. So yeah, so I think you answered the question about what inspired you to write this book. But how about, I mean, what character you would
Mhm.
relate to the most, and why? I mean, what character
Mm.
in the book you would you relate to the
Okay.
most? Of course, the lead character would be one, but if there is any other character you would think of would relate to the
Mm.
most, and why? Yeah.
Okay. So actually, to say, every female character in this book is literally a part of me.
Okay.
Sati, like she's a rebellion, who
Right.
is a rebellion within me, like who wants
Hmm.
to fight away any kind of suppression.
Right.
And there is also a part of me in Adya, the
Mm-hmm.
mother who is like
Mm-hmm.
she's literally scared and overprotective of her
Right.
child.
Right.
Like she would love to keep her child under her wings rather than to let her face the
Hmm.
adversities of the world. So there is
Hmm.
a part of me in Adya as well, because I am a mother of a girl child. So this
Right. Right.
this is there. Like even though I want someone to be rebellious and stuff like that, as a mother, it is obvious that you want to protect your daughter from any kind of adversities. So
Mm-hmm.
Adya is also a part of me, and Ada is also a part of me, like who loves freedom, doing
Mm-hmm.
things in her own way. So this is how, like, literally I want to live my life. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a part of me in Ada as well, and even Vinodini, Shan's mother, like she represents me and how she was scared to make the much needed decision to get out of the abusive marriage.
Okay.
So all these things, all the woman characters, I would say, are a part and parcel of myself.
Of course. Right. Right. And I must say, I mean, hearing your views, I would say the audience would love to read this book. So friends, if you haven't got a chance to buy this book, you can go ahead and buy it right now and read it, because it's a must read book. I have read it, and I would say it's a really heart wrenching book that you will not miss reading it. Yeah. So that brings me to another question, Savita. Is that I mean, how long did you take to write this book?
Actually, I did take a long time. It took me around 2 years, to have the full manuscript in hand.
Mm-hmm.
That was only because like I had too many things on my plate, as I already told, like I'm a working person having two kids to look after. So I literally had an hour or so to sit down and write every day. And now and then I definitely needed a break as well, so it took me like 2 full years to complete a book actually.
So, how did you come up with this title, "World Without Women"? Did you just thought came across suddenly, or did you choose? Did you have to choose some titles or something? I mean, how did you come up with the
No,
title of the book? Yeah.
actually, for some reason, I didn't think a lot at all.
Mm-hmm.
As I already mentioned, the title of the book, the characters of the book, the
Mm-hmm.
events which happened, I don't know, it somehow obviously flowed. I have written some short stories where I
Mm-hmm.
had to think a lot about, how the characters would be placed, how they will be looking. So many things I had to think a lot. But here in this book, like somehow everything just flowed.
Right.
I didn't have much of a thought, to pick up the title. So this was the one title which came up, and I didn't have a second thought at all on that.
Right. It looked pretty unique because I means one when I saw this books with its title "World Without Women," I was little astonished. I
Mhm.
means with it. I means honestly, I was little astonished. I means about the title "World Without Women," and that brought me to a little curiosity as to what this book is all about. So I just flipped
Yes.
one page after the other, and then slowly I didn't know that I started I mean, reading the book. I was halfway through,
Mhm.
and then suddenly I mean I realized that I finished off the book as well. So means
Okay.
the and that uh, I mean brings me to interesting point over here is that the title really matters for any author. What do you say? Yeah, Savita.
Yes, yes, of course. And the title definitely matters because that is the face of your book, right? Like
Right.
whoever, like even as a person, we make an impression
Right.
for someone to come and speak with us, even
Mm-hmm.
like so definitely the face of the book matters. The title, the cover of the book, everything definitely matters for a book. Though
And
they say don't judge judge a book by its cover,
right, right, right. I understand. I understand.
subconsciously everyone does
Mhm.
that actually.
Exactly, exactly. Though they say that don't judge the book by the cover, but yes, it does matter. If you have a bad title, then people will won't pick up the book
Yes,
from the
yes,
bookshelves.
I
Yeah.
won't say like it would be a bad
Mhm.
title, but still like
Right,
there are titles which pull you
right.
into reading that book, as you had mentioned. And before I forget, thanks for the compliment. I'm really feeling happy that you enjoyed the book
True,
actually.
true. No, no. It was indeed a very
Mhm.
interesting book to read. I must say. And now,
Thank you.
here are few rapid fire questions I wanted to ask before
Mhm.
we wrap up, and you have to answer whatever comes to your mind without thinking too much. And no,
Mhm.
this is really not inspired by the that Karan Johar show. So
Okay.
shall we begin? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, sure.
so here we go. First one is that who is your favorite author?
My favorite author is rather a poet, actually, Subramania Bharatiyar. He's a
Mm-hmm.
Tamil poet and a freedom fighter, like who had always fought for justice, and
Mm-hmm.
he is, and like will always be my favorite author.
So, second is that can you name top three books that you have read recently or in the recent past and really like the most, where you felt that those books really are worth reading? Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so to talk about the books which I really liked, I would love to go back to the past actually. My first and most favorite book is Enid Blyton's Famous Five actually.
Right,
So
right, right. That is goes without
that was
saying.
the
Yeah.
book where
Mm-hmm.
my reading journey began.
Mm-hmm.
So it will always stay close to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And second one is Ponniyin Selvan, written by Kalki,
Mm-hmm.
and Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code. So these are
Mm-hmm.
my most favorite books, actually.
Yes, Da Vinci Code is. the number one. I've also read that. I mean, it is
Mhm.
one of the best books that I have. I mean,
True,
read.
true.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And the next stuff is that consider a situation where you get an opportunity to meet with an author. So who will
Mhm.
that be?
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, like undoubtedly.
Okay, okay, I understand. Yeah. So, and last, name a book that you wish you had written. I mean, or you want to write. I mean, and or I would say a genre
Okay.
that you wish to write in. I mean, yeah.
The genre which I wish to write is like I want to write a time travel story. So
Mhm.
that has been there in my mind for a long time. I did try a short story, but it didn't come out well. So I have this uh, thought of writing a time travel story. So just like something the future of another timeline by
Right.
Annalene Mewitz. So she had written a really beautiful book, so I would like to write some similar book like that. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Savita, for taking time out to come for this conversation in my podcast. I'm really delighted to have you in this episode of my mindful conversation series. And it was lovely talking to you. And I hope the readers also will have lovely time hearing you, hearing your thoughts. Means about the book, about the situation that we are facing right now. About we are talking about
Mm.
women empowerment, but seriously, so with the every day when we hear news of rape and other incidents also that women are facing, it's really heartening. And so
Mm.
reading your book, I'm sure the readers will have some kind of thought in their minds, basically. So I wish you all the best and also wish all the success in your life, and hope you continue writing more such books and bring a lot of inspiration. I mean, and fill our lives with inspiration rather.
Yeah.
And thank you once again for joining me in this episode.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me in this show as well. And I thoroughly enjoyed, I mean, every question of yours, like I did really enjoy answering
Right.
everything. So I really had a good time. And yeah, definitely I'll try to keep writing. So I have like a lot of storylines in my mind, but I'm not
Right.
sure like when I will be able to sit down and write. And I also hope this book inspires people. Please don't take the book literally in its own sense. I did write this intensive just because I wanted to show the depth of the after effects, what is really happening behind the news which you read and just pass it by. So that was my real intention. But literally to say, I wish that every household, every education system brings in sex education and imparts the knowledge of respecting each other's body and boundaries and everything. So that is what is really important.
True.
So I
True.
hope
True.
that happens very soon.
True. True. Yeah. I just hope that, and with this 2022 going off in just a couple of
Mm.
days, so I just hope that the coming year and the years to come will see a lot of improvements. Yeah. I just
Yes,
hope that. Yeah.
definitely. Yes, sure. Yeah, thank you.
And last but not the least, I just hope a lot of success to you in the coming year as well. So I mean, and I think this should be the last episode of this
Mhm.
series in this
Mhm.
year, basically. I mean,
Okay.
I so wish you a very very happy new year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Wish you a new year as well. And to everyone who is listening to this, Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Make this new year a meaningful one.
sure. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Savitha.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, friends, with that, we come to an end of this episode of Mindful Conversation series in my podcast, The Anuj Kapoor Talk Show. Stay tuned for more interesting conversations that I will bring to you in my upcoming episodes. Click a tap on the follow link if you haven't done it already, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you receive notifications for my future episode. That is it for this episode. See you in the next episode with yet another exciting personality and some interesting conversation. This is your friend and host Anuj signing off. Bye for now.